Let's get you into Amazon as a product manager. How's it going, champs? My name is Rich, and in today's video, we are going to be walking you through a live coaching call of me basically giving the step-by-step instructions on how to win the Amazon product manager interview. So to give you some context, you are going to see a clip that we hosted from one of our live group coaching calls. One of the people in our program has landed a product manager interview with Amazon, and it is for a very specific business team. Which team? You're going to go ahead and see in the clip just in a few moments. But I do want to give you some context here. Number one, Amazon has provided us with the following context. They have given us 5 technical product manager interview questions. They have also given us 5 behavioral questions. In addition to that, they have also provided for us the format in which they are suggesting we answer these questions. I'm going to be providing you with an insight of how most of your peers would be answering these questions, how to avoid some of the common red flags that you may not even realize is hurting your chances of converting this interview into the next round. On top of that, what are some other things that you can do in addition to just help you stand out? All in all, if you're interested in inquiring about how our program could possibly help you level up and land your next product manager role, please schedule a call in the description below. We look forward to actually speaking with you to see if we can help. But the main thing people have to take away is this. Questions and answers are only going to get you so far. If you really want to land and convert interviews into real offers at your favorite companies, at the companies that you dream of working, you're going to need a portfolio and you're going to need a level up. You are going to have a very tailored portfolio because what they're trying to assess is how much risk are you, how much onboarding time are you going to be versus another one of the peers that's going to be competing against you for the same roles. If we can increase the speed to lead from you reaching out to these hiring managers, if we can go ahead and put more interviews on your calendar, if we can go and build these portfolio projects out faster, there's really no reason why you wouldn't be able to land the product manager job, just like all of the other testimonials that you've seen below. Can't wait to go ahead and chat with you. Schedule the call. Let's talk really soon. But for right now, this is just a little bit of what it is that you can expect. And don't forget to watch it all the way through. All of these questions, last thing, all of these questions, whether it's for Amazon or Meta or for another company, the truth of the matter is the same questions keep on getting recycled throughout the world of product management. So even if you feel like, well, what if I don't land the job at this company? You have an interview with them live. The reality is good, because now you're going to know how to answer that question effectively for the next product manager interview that you get at another dream company, because the market is hotter than ever. Talk to you very soon. Don't forget to schedule a call and subscribe. Okay, all right. So we have the technical product manager. So we actually have the technical product manager for Eero Business Systems. You'll own the delivery. You'll go ahead and actually own the business system automations and integrations that powers EO's global operations, citing between lean engineering team, cross-functional stakeholders across supply chain, commercial operations, blah, 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 blah. Okay, end-to-end product delivery, technical requirements, authorship, sprint, so you have that. And then they basically give you from here, what is the Amazon interview framework? So know the LPs. So LP stands for leadership principles, right? Ownership dive. So we have all that. And then we start off with STAR. The STAR framework, and then you have your preparation strategy. In addition to that, we'll assess your product delivery, da 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 da. Okay, so starting off, first things first is they give you some baseline questions to go out there and actually practice. For this one right here, it says, tell me about a time you own a complex project end to end with minimal oversight. What did you do to keep it on track? Describe a situation where you had to translate a vague or ambiguous business need into a clear technical requirement. How did you approach it? Tell me about a time when you identified a significant problem in a system or process. How did you communicate it and what did you do? When did you take a risk, make a mistake, or fail in a project? How did you go ahead and respond? Tell me about a time when you strongly disagreed with the stakeholder or engineer. on a technical approach, how did you handle that? Down here, you have walk me through business systems integration. Describe a project where you actually had to coordinate multiple external systems. What were the biggest challenges? Tell me about a time when you had more work than your team can handle. How did you prioritize and what were the trade-offs? How do you manage project delivery when you have dependencies on engineering, vendors, and multiple business stakeholders? All right, so you have, and all of this is just prep. So right now we got 9 questions that we have to get ready for, and we're
Hmm.
about to help our friend here get his job. So the very important thing that people need to know when they are preparing for a STAR interview, or like STAR stands for situation, task, action, and then result, right? Let me tell you what
Hmm.
people get wrong. Situation. Never reference a recent situation. You always want to reference an early situation. And I'll tell you why. Because if you tell them, like, there's going to be a few exceptions, but if you tell them that you made a mistake last week, they're going to want to know why did you make a mistake last week. You always want to say the situation is the first 30 days. This is something they trained us viciously in recruiting. The first 30 days when I was on the new job, the first 30 days when I was on the new team, the first 30 days of COVID, the first. Why? Because the first 30 days is the grace period. That's the time when you are allowed to make mistakes. In fact, they expect you to make mistakes, right? So when the second thing is the task. What was the task? Whatever the task was is not as important as the action. What did you go ahead and do to resolve it? But more importantly is how much time did it take you to resolve it? So if you say like, oh yeah, our email marketing specialist quit, so I decided to get an email marketing certification. The follow-up question is how long was the certification? 13 weeks. So there's only 52 weeks a year. Based upon that metric, you're only able to solve 4 problems for us in a 12-month span. You're rejected. You don't want to do that. They actually want to hear you actually come up with some solutions, right? Like, okay, yeah, our email marketing specialist quit. So what I did was as the e-commerce product manager at Forever 21, I signed up for, you basically say like I signed up for X number of newsletters for our competitors who are also running the same Black Friday campaign. I popped it all into Notebook LM, mocked everything up onto Figma, got people to vote on it by 3 o'clock that same afternoon, and came up with 6 different email campaigns and asked our people to vote. And I made multiple A/B tests, right? The action is very important in terms of what did you do about the problem and how much time did it take for you to execute it? If it's like, oh yeah, so this was the situation, it happened last week, red flag. This is the problem that came up. Okay, why is that even a problem at your level in the game? And to solve that problem, I did this. Well, that took you way too freaking long. And then they also miss out on the result. 95% of people, because they got through S, T, and A, they totally forget the R. The only thing that matters about the R that's going to get you the job is how much money did the company make as a result of this? How much money did the company save as a result of this? And then how much time did the company save as a result of this? In which case, we can also go ahead and translate a dollar figure. So now that you have the STAR framework based upon how we do it here now, right? Let's go ahead and actually have this very real conversation. Tell me about a time when you own a complex project end to end with minimal oversight. What did you do to keep it on track? Let me tell you the very awesome answer for Amazon or big tech. You don't talk about, if you want to go out there and one up your competitors, you don't talk about a time where you manage one project. You want to go ahead and reference COVID. During the first 30, I think 45 days of COVID, unfortunately, during that time, I had very minimal oversight just because two of the people that I reported to caught COVID. And also, 3 of the people that I work with also caught COVID as well. So I was managing multiple complex projects where I had to not only operate with minimal oversight, I had to operate with almost minimal intelligence, but we still had to see the project through. And they were projects one, two, three, I immediately got everything onto Monday.com or choose a project management software of your choosing and tell them how it is that you basically set it up. Considering the fact that you come from Lucid, not very difficult. Name, very importantly, if you really want to make yourself look sexy out there, provide multiple project management tools. Like I had to take over, I inherited basically three projects because three other product managers caught COVID. One team liked using Trello, one team liked using Asana, and one team used Monday.com, or one team used Airtable, or one team used Notion, right? What I had to do was instead of centralizing, wasting time centralizing everything onto a project management software that I prefer to use, what I did was this. And as a result, this basically happened. We were able to
Hmm.
go ahead and stay on track. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, 95% of your competitors are only because it's Amazon, buddy. So other people have product management experience just like you, right? So
yeah.
you're going to be competing against like a Spotify product manager. You're going to be competing against an Airbnb product manager. You're going to be competing against like maybe even a Meta product manager, right? So if you say, "Oh, I manage one project," versus somebody else that's saying, "Well, I had to manage multiple projects," who do you think is going to sound hotter? The person that managed multiple projects. Does that make sense?
Right.
You know? And what do you think? Think about the next problem. This is the whole exercise, and anybody can get it, right? Why I'm pushing for the affiliate is you always have to think about what's the next problem. The amateur product manager underneath that circumstance would force everybody to centralize into one project management software. Sounds very, very idealistic on paper. But like with most regimes that try to centralize everything onto one thing, it usually doesn't work out very well in practice because you end up wasting all the time getting everybody onto from Monday.com to Notion. This team likes Airtable, getting them onto Notion. They don't want to use Notion. Use it the way they want to use it. Justin, quick question. You have your hand raised, buddy.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so is there any bias between, I guess, like the amount of examples you use from your portfolio? Let's say your portfolio and you got a product that's doing well. Is there any bias between how much you talk about examples from that versus examples from jobs? Is there a sweet spot? Do they care?
There's no bias, but you want to make sure your portfolio is loaded up. So when you pull up your portfolio, they see all the other things that you worked on. That's really cool. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. But you want to make it seem very natural.
All right, don't just pull up like, hey,
Yeah,
here's my
yeah, yeah. And then you see all this other shit, right? And it's like, oh, well, I didn't know you had all this. Yeah, I did. But like if you say like, oh yeah, hang on. Before I answer that question, let me show you my portfolio. That sounds like you're trying too hard. You know, you want to make it, you better make it smooth. So, describe a situation where you had to translate a vague or ambiguous business need, a vague or ambiguous business need into a clearer technical requirement. How did you go ahead and approach it? Um, okay. So this is one of those situations where you get away with referencing all the time because the truth of the matter is this is happening in real time. So if you guys ever watched that movie Training Day with Denzel Washington, I really like that. It was actually one of my old bosses here. He's like, you do what they teach you to do at the academy, you will die. There's idealistic textbook product management and there's what's going on in real life, right? In real life, Mark Zuckerberg's not even writing a PRD. He's just going to say, we need to buy WhatsApp tonight. You guys start working on a plan. So this is something that you want to talk about, like describe a situation. At this point, Imad, you want to go out there and just kind of laugh and be like, unfortunately, this is just something that keeps on happening, and I'm pretty sure it's happening all the time at Amazon too. So I don't think
Right.
I can reference any one particular situation. This is just something that's happening every single day. So what I do is when I have, which is almost every single day, a very ambiguous, when I have a very vague or ambiguous business need, and I need to clarify the technical requirement, is I go directly to the key stakeholder or the key stakeholders, and I get a time to chat and I get clarification. if I'm building something that isn't aligned with the core values of the business and is not going to drive the impact that the business needs, we're just going to be wasting time and resources. Um, does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
because you'd be hilarious, but like most, like 95% of the product managers out there, we did this assignment in New York where we would a lot of people got a product manager interview at Uber. We would actually call Uber back and try to get more clarification, and it was hilarious for the case study. And I remember this one call with the director of product at Uber. They gave us about an extra 30 pages worth of notes because that case study was just clearly not very clear. And the hilarious thing was like it was just not very clear. And because on the hiring side, they'll just hit up Uganda and they'll be like, do you have a case study we can hand Andy? Because he's at round three. He's at round three already. He's like, yeah, you already talked to the guy twice. Oh shit. All right. I'm gonna email you something. Give me like 15 minutes. And then they send some fucking like ambiguous, vague bullshit. And the hilarious thing is like we used to laugh about this in recruiting all the time. People would, I was like, are you really getting ready to fly, go through TSA at JFK to fly to SFO and do a presentation and like not get a job? Like it doesn't make sense. So like if you see like a case study, and you can let them know too. I've even done this before in interviews where I've gotten offers from leading companies in the past, where if a case study is ambiguous, I'll just ask for
Hmm.
clarification. They want you to get clarity on it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, and a lot of people are too afraid to ask up, and that's actually one of the reasons why they get rejected. If you exhibit any signs of fear, that just tells us you're in the wrong business because
Right.
these engineers would just troll your ass all day, you know? And that's exactly what
Yeah.
happens to a lot of product managers when they get burnt out is because they feel like they're doing all the work. They're doing all the work because people are dumping all the work on them because they know they can get away with it. Right. So let's go out there and quickly jet through these questions while I still have some strength left. Tell me about a time when you identified a significant problem in a system or process. How did you communicate it and what did you do? This is a very, very, very good question. So when I've identified a significant problem in the system or process, the first thing that I do is I actually double check that this is an actual problem. Maybe
Hmm.
there's a reason. I don't assume that I'm right. That's the first green flag, right? Because every company has processes where it doesn't seem like it makes sense. Like the New York Metro doesn't make sense. It's so not supposed to be functioning, you know? But there's also a reason if you really dig into it, maybe there's a reason why maybe there's a reason why things are the way that they are, right? So you want to go ahead before you even make sure that it's a problem. You want to first clarify that it's an actual problem. And the way that you do that is by talking to your key stakeholders, right? I go out there and I don't assume that it is a problem. I get clarity first that it is a problem. And then you reference a case. When I first moved to a new team, when I was at Tesla, I thought I had identified a significant problem in one of our processes. What I did was I actually grabbed some time with three of my coworkers, and what I realized was, oh, there is a reason why this is set up the way that it is set up. And once they explained it to me and I understood why, I realized like, oh, I actually made a mistake. But they said, yeah, normally you're not wrong. And then you got to fabricate a story behind that. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like the amateur that gets knocked out of the race is gonna say, "Oh, I address it immediately." What I do is I work on it all week and say, "You dumb," like you should have been watching a movie. Okay, when did you take a risk, make a mistake, fail on a project? How'd you respond? Um, you know what? This is a question right here where you're taking a very big risk because you're revealing something vulnerable about yourself, right?
Right.
And you don't want to position yourself as somebody that's incompetent, but at the same time, they want a real story. So how do you balance the scale, right? You know what you do? You reference COVID. during the first 30 days of COVID,
Hmm.
we did not know because now you just got away with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew it was going to be a risk, and you don't want to just be amateur. You want to go out there and actually be a rock star product manager, which is what we trained our people to be. Is you want to say this, okay, we had three options in front of our face. Option number one was we do nothing, and this was going to be the consequence. Option number two, we do this, and there was a percentage we had this consequence. Option number three is we did this, and there was going to be a percentage where we had this consequence. But if we did nothing, you know, then you're done for sure, right? So
Hmm.
what I did was I actually made the decision with the team, and I wanted to make sure that the team was comfortable. Unfortunately, we had business had to go on as usual, but we were in COVID and we also had sick team members. So we made a decision, we stuck with it, and we said, if we're going to fail fast, but this is what we're going to go ahead and do. And what was the result? What ended up happening was this positive. Or if it was a negative, what we learned from that was, and we ended up doing this, and it became a win. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
That's how you set up the story. Very key takeaways here, very, very, very clear takeaways here is that we want to reference a time where making a mistake where you had to take a risk. Because companies are always going to ask you, like, why did you have to take that risk?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the urgency? Well, it was COVID. So if you said like, oh yeah, last month, it's like, okay. So maybe what the safer thing is you do nothing, right? So you have to create a story where something had to be done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Tell me about a time you strongly disagreed with a stakeholder or engineer on a technical approach, and how did you handle it? This is actually why it's so important for me to get you guys these meme clips, because I literally have one where Jeff Bezos, he says this thing. He says like, instead of disagreeing, I'm I turn disagreement into curiosity. Now, if you flex that on the interview, then you're gonna say no to Jeff. So, oh yeah, I actually added that on my IG profile. It's like I've never disagreed with a stakeholder or engineer before. Um, Jeff said this at the World Economic Forum back in 2019. What is that fucking recruiter gonna say? No. It's like I turn disagreement. I always approach disagreement with extreme curiosity. Why do you feel that way, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna be freaking impressed because they're like, oh shit, this guy knows Jeff better than we. It's like, you know who said that? Who? Cracking the PM interview? No, Jeff Bezos. You heard of that guy before? Right there, you just mic drop the whole room. What? I mean, are you saying we don't implore extreme curiosity because it's not one of the 16 LPs? You know? Maybe it's one of the four that was missing that you forgot to send over to me, right? You know? Like, tell me about it. So the first thing is I never it might sound okay, so you're gonna say it like this. This is how you're gonna set up your answer. It might sound very cliche, Andy, but I've never been in a situation before where I even slightly or remotely disagreed with the stakeholder or engineered on, I wouldn't just say not even on just a technical approach, but even on a go-to marketing strategy, even on a pricing strategy. How I've always tried my best to manage stakeholder expectations and do my job is I, I really try to embody Jeff's philosophy of turning disagreement into curiosity. Why do you feel that way? And why is that, right? Um, yeah, we're hosting right now just to flex my own program on YouTube is we're hosting right now like 10 calls a week and I'm willing to host on the weekends if people need. Like I was texting with Andy, like I called Andy on Sunday, right? The reality of the situation is like it's freaking hilarious. You guys know I consult all these other boot camps and programs. I'm like, why are you guys getting angry at your students? They paid you for number one. Like, no, I don't want to meet you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to. Okay, so it's like, I see other programs, not to name names, but like they get one of their students, it's like, yo, it's like watch this video, like, or like reach out to this person that we got a product man. We got people product manager jobs before at Amazon, right? But like a phone call with them is not going to help you out more than me. So it's like you should actually be curious about like that, right?
Hmm.
And if you say it in a way where you're actually curious, and this is actually why I'm telling everybody to, they really say this in product management. I'm not making this shit up. If you guys are, I see like a lot of product managers are not going to be good product managers in the time of AI because they get so pissed off. They're so angry. Oh, why do I have to follow? Because they're busy. You're getting rushed by 400 LinkedIn messages. You can't respond to all of them. You know? So when you follow up, it's like, oh my gosh, this guy has some product sense. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So that's also something that we should also be cognizant of, right? Um, okay, walk me through a business system integration or automation you own, starting with the business problem, then dive into the technical approach. This one here doesn't have to be sophisticated. You can honestly, a lot of times what people think that they have to do, this is the biggest mistake that they actually make, is the biggest mistake that they think that they have to make is they have to show something that they worked on at the company. Show a quick automation that you posted up, just Amr last night showed everybody that he built a LinkedIn post automator, right? Okay, I built this thing to automate posts on LinkedIn. Something that's very basic because you can't show them what you worked on at your company. That's proprietary data, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So build some shit, right? Describe a project where you had to coordinate multiple external systems, ERP, CRM. What were the biggest challenges? That one you can just go ahead and reference. That one you can just go ahead and reference um, the multiple different project management tools that you had to do when you took over multiple teams during COVID.
Yeah.
Because like, let's go up there and like for the people that are watching, why are they asking you this question? Is because everybody has systems that they like and that they use. You guys know I love Airtable. Drives some of my team members freaking crazy. And I'm like, well, start your own business and then you can use whatever you want. Like, but the reality, I love Airtable, right? I love Airtable. Um, and I love Claude, right? So the most important thing that they want to know from this question is, are you going to force other people to use your systems that you're used to, or are you okay using other people's systems that they like? I always stress in this answer that the most important thing that I try to focus on personally is understanding why are we utilizing these systems and how do I basically help, increase the efficiency of the coordination. Because one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of product managers make is they force people off of like, oh, why are we using HubSpot? Like Salesforce can do this, right? And people
Hmm.
hate that shit. So tell me about a time when you had more work than your team could handle. How did you prioritize and what trade-offs did you go out there and make? Honestly, you could say, tell me about a time you had more work. COVID.
Hmm.
COVID works just like butter because that's a time because the first part about why people have a very like they get very nervous with this question is because it kind of puts you in this position like why can't you handle your workload, right?
So this is something like this is an everyday sort of situation for me, actually. Like at Lucid, this was every day. We
This is
always
every
had
day
more
for
work.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. There's always more work than you can get done, and you're constantly having to, I mean, part of product management, one of the basics is saying no to people, right? Like, how do you say no? Uh, come across that question
We
quite a
have
few times.
we have people on the call right now that don't have a job and it's more work than they can do. And I'm not even
Mhm.
being sarcastic. Like people got kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Kids
Same
get
here.
sick.
I'm in that crowd.
You
That's
know?
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, so it's like, tell me about a time. So, like, the reality is, this is how you actually set it up. The truth of the matter is, in this marketplace, um, this is something that you can reference something that's more recent, right? This is something that's going to happen more and more frequently. And what we have to do is there's always going to be trade-offs and something's always going to get lost. Like at the end of the day, something that needs to still get done is still not going to go ahead and get done. That's all they really want to hear you say is acknowledge it. The guy or
Hmm.
the girl that's coming out and saying like, well, this is how you don't even have time to prioritize. It's going to be lunchtime, dinner time, then bedtime before you know it. So like you gotta like at some point you gotta get to it, right? So the answer that I'm gonna set up for you is basically this. Unfortunately, this is just something that's been happening far too long, not just in product management, but I don't know anybody right now, even people that are not working still have more workload that they can go out there and handle with like family, kids, and everything else. How do I prioritize and what trade-offs do I go out there and make? What's urgent and what's important gets prioritized. And unfortunately, there's still, at the end of the day, I think, regardless of how much you try, there's still going to be some things that are missing. And that
Hmm.
just means sometimes we're just going to have to make up for it on the weekends. But I feel that if the most important thing about this question and the most important thing about your answer is what is your attitude in answering it? Like, if
Hmm.
you enjoy what it is that you do, then work doesn't feel like work. These calls, I'm not watching the timer because when I'm making YouTube videos and stuff, and I've done calls with all of you here, like I thoroughly enjoy what it is that I do. If I hated doing what I do, I would have just murdered myself already. So like, and you could let them know I'm a really big fan of Amazon. Amazon is something that our family actually uses. I personally use. I use Amazon Prime for delivery. I listen to Audible. I watch Amazon Prime content.
Hmm.
You know, Jack Ryan's one of my favorite shows. You know, I love what you guys did with the Lord of the Rings franchise, right? So like, and that's what they want. Like all these tech companies, they're actually every company out there is like a cult. They want you to be a part of the religion
Hmm. Rich,
24/7.
I have a question about
Shoot,
the previous question actually.
shoot.
And I just wanted to ask you before I forget about it. So one of the challenges, like at a lot of organizations where you're working across multiple external systems, and especially when you reference, what people are using for multiple, everybody's using a different system for their project management, for example. And I mean, if your company is prioritizing, optimizing their subscriptions, how they've got their vendors set up, they want to use fewer programs, they want to get everybody onto it. Isn't that something that these guys are going to be looking for when I answer that question? That, what did I do to get people on board with, you know, using the same thing so that we can optimize for cost?
Yes and no. So from the business management standpoint, maybe yes. But if you're talking about the frontline troop, most likely no. Like from the business standpoint, is like, yeah, we want everybody on Monday.com, right? But if you're talking to like you have to know your audience and who it is that you're talking to and what is it that you're selling to them. If you're talking to, let's just say this is not Amazon, let's just say this is a startup, right?
Hmm.
You're going to talk to the financial controller and they're like, yeah, I mean, we would save a lot more money if everybody just like, HubSpot does a lot of this shit and we can just all have it centralized on one platform. True, but your job as a product manager is to help prioritize those expectations too as well, right? Because
Right.
there's going to be people that are going to say like, well, there's a like in our company, we have two CRMs. There's a CRM that our marketing people like to use, and there's a CRM that sales people like to use. And I have given up trying to be the sandwich between these two pieces of shit. And they both made a legitimate case why, one's going in one direction, why is the other one going in the other direction, right? It's hard. So yes, on paper, you got to look at it like a politician. You advocate for a lot of change, but you do very little to actually change anything significant because generally speaking, people don't like change. Nothing is Nowhere is that more relevant than running for mayor in New York and LA, the two largest cities in the country.
Hmm.
They always say change. And then 4 or 5 years goes by and it's the same shit. It's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
one of the 48 laws of power is advocate for change, do absolutely nothing. So like, tell me about a time. Okay, so we did that. And how do you manage project delivery when you have dependencies on engineering, vendors, and multiple business stakeholders simultaneously? Reaching a group consensus and getting alignment across all stakeholders. How we ensure project delivery is that we set the proper expectations across multiple different departments. It's unfortunate, of course, as the business side, we're going to want to move as fast as possible, but we have to understand that that's not always possible. Burning out your team members from a productivity standpoint, it's easier than we're just talking about pure productivity right now, right? It's easier to burn somebody down to like, I would say like they have 5% or 6% left, the juice left in them, and getting them to recover back to 100 versus to zero or negative. Like, because at that point they might not even be able to recover. So there's certain times where I just like stop working. Like I know I can go a little bit farther, but I was like, okay, I'm like at like an 8 or 9 right now. If I go all the way down to one at my age, I'm not making a comeback from that, you know, as quickly, like within 24
Mhm.
hours, right? So you get expectations on engineering, and you try to uncover what is their timeline along with the vendors. And what you try to do here is you create buffers. So when somebody tells me, like JP Morgan just built their brand new headquarters, like I think it took them like 5 years. Um, like any deadline anybody gives me, I always expect, unless I'm delivering it, I always expect like more time. And I always expect more complication. It's like every AI job hunting tool that I've come across, they're like, oh, it's really easy. Like you just got to shut the fuck up. It's like it always takes longer. It always requires more resources. It always requires more time, always. But you got to expect that. Like when you're getting into your car to drive, you have to expect traffic. So like in when you're managing technical debt, it's the same situation too. Okay, we're officially at 125. Does anybody have any additional questions? Going once, going twice.
Just one quick thing, Rich. I'm going to just do some totals in the leaderboard so that we can have like week one accountability and week two accountability and stuff like that.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Hmm. Finally, we're getting some strong West Coast Bay Area leadership, man. Now we just got to clean up the city and we're ready to go. I love trolling that place. Did you guys hear
You don't miss the Bay Area, Rich?
and did you guys hear Sergey Brin just became Republican? I popped it into the Instagram group chat for those of you guys that are not part of the Instagram. He's like coming out here ready to do that. I miss 2016 San Francisco. But I miss 2016 a lot of things.
Yeah, same here.
I remember when people were able to get along with each other. Before I can go grab some oysters, a beer, and a clam chowder at Embarcadero. And I can walk back to the office and know that no bodily harm was going to be inflicted upon me. Uh, you know, when people weren't rushing into the Apple store at Union Park every single time I needed to get a charger. But no, like the answers, I think like and unpacking the big tech, and that's why we're like running the affiliate marketing, is really showing how well you understand people, right? Like you have to understand people are very risk adverse. They're always going to protect themselves from effort. They're always going to be looking for the easier way. They're always going to be looking for the reason why something doesn't work. When you're answering the question, you have to answer the question that they're really asking, that they're not asking, because most people don't have self-awareness. So when
Mhm.
somebody's asking us right now, if somebody books a call with us right now and they say, "Yo, I'm thinking about transitioning to product management for management consulting," what we understand their questions to be when I'm training my admissions team to sell is you're probably right now a little skeptical about our process, but also you're probably thinking to yourself, is product management the career path that you want to go ahead and take? Are you going to enjoy it? Are people even going to take you seriously? Maybe you're a little bit younger in your career. Should you have another year or 2 years in management consulting? Maybe you're a little bit older in your career and you get a little bit of perks. Like you're not working that hard now. I mean, you don't love your job, but at the same time, you don't hate it enough to really have to leave. And they're like, yes, 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 right? It's about drawing all that out of them. Does that make sense? Like when people understand that you get them, people understand that you got them. Well, they at least think you have a better chance of getting them to go where it is that they want to go. Fair? There you go, champs. So we wish you good fortune. Milan, please bring in your prep next time. Unfortunately, we're way over time, and that means I'm way over my lunchtime. But like overall, everybody's getting interviews right now. We're putting some very kind of hate to sound like we're putting some very exciting opportunities on the board. They're the best opportunities. Better better than any time in product management history.
Better.
Okay? People are getting higher rates faster. My gosh. There's
That's the
never been a better
motivation I need, man.
time. There's never been a better time to be a product manager. Uh, Milan, any additional feedback?
Yeah, could we quickly, did you have time to look over the job role?
I really can't because we're already like 30 minutes over.
Got it. I just have a introduction meeting at like 3:30 Eastern, so I don't know what to really expect, but
What do you got?
that's not
Show it
it.
to me real quick. Real quick.
I put in the chat. It's just a general contract role, I think.
Give me a second here. I have the job description. I mean, I have the. Oh, I see the job description.
Yeah.
Oh, the reason why I'm not seeing it is because I don't have my glasses on. Oh, there we go. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, product manager. Okay, content solution backlog.
It was really vague, so I don't know.
Well, I think let's go ahead and actually address that. We have how to prepare for a very vague job description, right?
Uh-huh.
I think the first question that you should go out there and ask is, I'm very excited to be interviewing with you guys today, but if you don't mind me asking, the job description itself is a little bit vague. So, is it possible for you to tell me what was it about my particular resume that stood out to you so much that prompted you to want to schedule a call with me? That's the number one question because even if they had a very clear job description, it's very hard for you to figure out where you fit in if you don't know how you fit in. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, it's hard for me. Like, there's a lot here that it seems very generic.
Yeah.
They might as well just not have a job description at all, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like this could also be any product manager job at the same time. But let's just assume for a second it was a very clear job description of exactly what they needed, right? We never want to, as product managers, we never ever want to assume that this is the job because that job description may be outdated and it has not been updated. So the first thing that we want to clarify is what was it about my particular resume or what was it about my background in particular that prompted that caught your eye, that prompted you to schedule an interview with me? Because I imagine you probably have more resumes than you know what to do with right now. Oh my gosh, I wish it was Monopoly money. This is very true. There's a sea of candidates out there, right? Even for meta rotational product manager, there's like 12,000 candidates for that role. So recruiters have a metric of how many people that they talk to, how many people converted. Companies cannot just pay them. You talked to 20 candidates this week and you didn't convert one to a second round.
Right.
Like they have to send somebody over, and 50% of the people that they send over to the second round has to convert. So it's not just crap that's coming through
Mhm.
down the line, right? So they actually like that has to be very well established. So the question that we want to go ahead and ask are the following questions. What was it about my, thank you so much for scheduling a call with me today, Andy. What was it about my resume stood out to you guys so much that prompted you to schedule a call? Because honestly, I reviewed the job description through and through. It's a tad bit vague, but it's not like other job descriptions for product manager roles aren't. So I'm just trying to understand where it is that I fit in.
Mhm.
Because I imagine you have probably more candidates than you know what to do with. I mean, imagine that if that was monopoly money, right? Oh gosh, I wouldn't even be working. Perfect. So we really like the fact that you have this e-commerce background. We really like the fact that you have this QA background. Interesting. Can you tell me more? Get them to clarify for you. That's actually one of the things that we're teaching also in the Meta rotational product manager is like asking clarifying questions before making assumptions, right?
Right.
This is not like a freaking hostage negotiation scenario and you're interviewing for LA SWAT. Like, you're about to waste a lot of the company's money if you're getting it not right. So the next thing that we want to go ahead and ask is, and out of all the candidates that you guys have been, how long has the role been open? If the role has just opened, they're
Mhm.
usually very vague because they don't even know who they want,
That's what it seems like.
right? And they're just like, they're trying to figure out this is actually why being a real estate agent is just a bad career path, is because the first 30 homes you're a free Uber driver to these people. They don't even know what home they want to buy. They don't even need to buy a home. Nobody has to buy a home. Everybody's got a place to live. So like they're doing all this like exploration work before they're even figuring it out. So that's a good indicator whether or not it's a good use of your time. And another good question for you to go ahead and ask is this a brand new position or did somebody just leave? If somebody just left, it's very easy to refill a role. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, we had a guy on the team. His name is Justin. He just left, and you're refilling for the role. Oh, cool. What do you guys like about Justin? What did Justin do? I'm gonna do. Well, how did Justin do it? I'm gonna do everything Justin did the way that you guys like Justin doing it for you guys. And what did you wish Justin do more? Or what did Justin not do? Okay, and I'm gonna do all those additional things. That makes you a very clear winner. Now, if it's a brand new role, that's a little bit more ambiguous because we never had anybody play this position before. Wow, how long have you guys been trying to get this role approved for the budget? Because companies always want you guys to do as much work as possible, right? Until you guys get overly burnt out, it's like, all right, you're threatening to quit. Now we're going to hire somebody else for you, right? Now you want to go ahead and ask them, like, okay, perfect. I can see why the role is so vague. Who are the key stakeholders and what do they want for what are they looking for, right? Other additional questions that's really good to ask because everybody that's looking to hire for a product manager right now, they're determining whether or not that person's going to be a good value add. The next question that's really good to go out there and actually ask is how do you define success in this role? What would be the 3 to maybe even 5 KPIs that defines success for this position? If you're on a dating app, the key metrics are going to be if you're on a dating app, the key metrics are going to be this. Key metrics are going to be like, okay, how many new users are you guys signing up? How many in-app purchases, average user screen time, right? And based upon how they define success and you ask them, how do you feel like I fit into this role? Well, we really like the fact that you had XYZ background. Oh, okay. So tell me about the tell me about yourself answer is just so much easier for you to set up because then you know why they're interested in you based upon what they're trying to accomplish, the very specific KPIs. Oh, we like the fact that we saw on your resume, you were successful at minimizing customer onboard. Oh, I'm still very curious. Well, you did have your third bullet on your second position. You had this bullet about minimizing customer onboarding time. And that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish right now. Okay, let's dig into that. We want to turn every single interview where it's less about how my background's a good fit and more about what is the problem. For the most part here, I would say half of you enrolled because you guys talked to me. The other half, you guys talked to somebody that was on my team. We don't, when people schedule a call with us, the first question is, why the fuck should we pay you? That's the truth. Can't handle that. You're in the wrong line of work, right? But we never take those questions personally. We focus on the problem. What is your problem? Right? Like, not what's your problem, but like, what is your problem in making this transition? And then we just go down the line. If they give you a very clear list, I think Crystal made it a good process for us because she brought in a whole bag of questions. And then now it's like, okay, so we're going to go there line by line. We're going to go there and focus on every one of them. We don't ever want the product manager interview to focus on why us, because if it's on us, it's why not us, right? It's like, why you? We're going to be drilling until we figure out why it's not going to be you. We want to focus on the problem. When we focus on the problem, we exponentially increase our chances of getting the job because they have a problem. If they decide not to hire any one of you, I mean, it'll suck, but you just go back, but you still have the problem. You still got to deliver. And if you don't deliver, you're going to be on this call. Right? The Meta RPM is like straight up, it's an 18-month short-term employment contract. And not everybody that makes it to the 18 months makes it through the 18 months. And not everybody that makes it through all 18 months is going to get a Meta job, bro. They're very clear. You're on review every single week. Some people just strictly don't make it. It's like a K-pop idol factory, you know? So like we always want to go ahead and just ask questions about the problem. If you come off, and it goes back to a mod's like Amazon product manager interview, right? We are focusing on curiosity, extreme curiosity. Okay. That's what we're doing here, champs. Extreme, extreme, extreme curiosity. If people feel like you're gonna help them solve the problem that's standing in their way of getting fired, they're gonna tell you freaking everything. It's like when you're talking to your lawyer, the guy comes out. I need to know where you put the body. I'm not here to judge you. I'm the only thing stopping. I'm the only thing between you, a jumpsuit, and 25 years of your life. Yeah. You can tell that person everything, right? So you got to go ahead and make the interviewer feel comfortable, but you got to look like you're interested in solving the problem. Cool?
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right, champs. You guys got to bring your interview prep stuff like faster to me so we can get through it. But other than that, make sure everybody's at their fighting best. Andy, I got a bunch of shit to go out there and prompt and tag onto that guy, and we're gonna print. All right, champs. I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you, Mud, Alon, Crystal. Talk to y'all very soon. Next
All right.
check in 2 hours, all right?
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. 6 o'clock tonight, Eastern time.